Did you know that you can create stop motion animation using just Google Slides? Yes, what I'm showing you here on the screen is a very simplistic version of stop motion animation. I want you to think flipbook. If you've ever used a flipbook where the image looks like it's moving as you flip the pages really fast, that's essentially what we're doing in slides. And what I've put together here is a fall activity just to demonstrate this. It's slightly more sophisticated than like the 30-second tutorial I usually give. So I just wanted to give you this opportunity to learn this, whether you're listening to the audio version of the podcast or watching this on YouTube, where I have on the screen right now a fall tree with leaves that are slowly falling to the ground. So I've created this background. It is, fall colors. It's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it could be. You can get as fancy with it as you like. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do this. So let's backtrack. Let's take this step by step. Okay, the first thing I did was create a background. So if you do want something more sophisticated and not just a plain white or black background, you're probably going to want to create this, or your students would want to create this. So I would say at least 7th grade and up can do this themselves. But with the younger ones, you may want to create the background. You could also do this just, of course, to save time, to make the activity a little more focused. And whatever you're animating can apply to your curriculum. So I realize that leaves falling off a tree probably only applies to the littles who may be just learning what happens during the seasons. But there are lots of different ways to do this, and there are lots of really artistic ways that students can use this to get more creative. And we're always talking about ways to tap into creativity in the classroom. So I want to walk you through creating a background. And I've done this before in the drag and drop activity in episode 27, which is also on YouTube. But let's just do the quick and dirty version here. We need a blank slide, and then I begin building my background. So the first thing that I did was simply change the color of the background to kind of a gray blue for the sky. So if you right click from your slide sorter, have that yellow line around the slide and go to change background, you'll be able to select a color. And so from here, I already have a little custom color set up. It's just that gray blue kind of sky, at least that we have around here. Sometimes we do get the really pretty blue, but we are kind of thinking more fall muted colors. And then I'm going to add some ground cover. So this is, just sort of a dark brownish green that's coming in as we create a place for our tree. So I go into shapes, and you can use whatever shapes you want to actually do this. But I have found this kind of banner looking shape works well at creating ground that's not just a plain old square. And just click and drag it across. By the way, if you hold the shift key down, it will keep its original ratio, but that's not important to me because I'm actually kind of stretching this out to make it look like the ground. And then I'm going to jump into my paint bucket, which is the fill color, while that is selected, and give it that kind of grayish or greenish brown color, I should say. And then I'm going to add another shape just to kind of fill that in, which I'm going to use the rounded corner rectangle and click and drag that across the bottom of the slide until it covers everything. And I'm going to make sure that both of these have a transparent border. So I can click on that little pencil in the toolbar up there and just change it to transparent so it doesn't look off. It just looks kind of weird to me to have that random line there. So there I've got my ground cover. Now I need to find my tree. My tree that does not have leaves, because we're going to have the leaves go from the tree to falling down to the ground. So I'm going to go to Insert, and I'm going to go to Image, and I'm going to search the web. So I love this feature. I love that students don't have to leave the actual slide deck to go search for images. And I'm going to search for tree without leaves clip art. And if you add that little clip art piece, it does help you kind of get to what you're looking for. And this is definitely clip art, not photographs that we're looking for. There's my tree, and I'm going to click insert. And then I'm going to click and drag that tree over to the right-hand side where I want it. And I'm going to click and drag from the corners of the image, which by the way is another way to keep the ratio without distorting the image. And I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger and kind of get that where I want it on the screen. And okay, now I've got my sky, my ground cover, and my tree with no leaves. Okay, the next thing I need is just the little background pumpkins that I added just to make it look a little bit more festive. And of course, make this your own. I just want to show you how easy this is. So I'm going to go back to insert image, search the web, and I'm going to look for, and you can actually search for pumpkin clip art. And it took me just a little bit to find kind of this little grouping that just saved me some time instead of having to find multiples, just to kind of fill in and add this to our background. I'm going to resize it down and then kind of put it off to the side so it's sitting on the ground. And then last but not least is when I create a background like this for an activity for students, I almost always add a text box to put their name. It just makes things easier. I know a lot of times these are turned in via Google Classroom and you would already know who it was by, but it just kind of adds that extra element so you know what you're looking at as the teacher, and a reminder as students if they do happen to have these somewhere else to remember to put their name on it. And just add a text box and I write the word name, colon, and I like to make this stand out, so I use my fill color, my paint bucket up in the toolbar, and just fill it with white so that it sticks out onto the actual background. Now, here's the reason why we created the background first. This is going to be locked in the activity. I'm simply showing you how to do this because this can make things easier, especially with students who have never done this before or maybe just don't have all the Google Slide skills yet, but it's definitely going to be for those younger kids who just want to focus on the animation part and not having to create the background. Yes, kids can create the background. Like I said, they definitely can do everything that I just did, but this is just a way to create the background and quote unquote lock it. I get this question a lot, so I wanted to include it. So once you have that background created, and the reason I have two, if you're watching on the screen, is because I was just recreating what I had already made. So select your background, and then you're going to go to File, Download, and you want to select PNG. And so that's going to download that individual slide as an image. Okay, that's it. And then I'm going to open a brand new slide deck, slides.new. So that background that we just created is going right here. So I have my slide selected so you can see it has the yellow border. I can either right click or I can click on background from the toolbar. And then I'm going to select choose image. And I'm going to click and drag to add that background that I just downloaded. And I am definitely going to select to add to theme. And so that will add the background to any new slide that I add. So we have our background. Now we need to add our leaves. So we want to go back to the insert menu, image, and search the web. And I want to look for individual leaves because I want to be able to manipulate those individually as opposed to a group. So I'm going to look for leaf clip art. And I'm going to select this maple leaf here. I like it because it's got different colors. You obviously could take some time to either create leaves and make them different colors. You can get as creative as you want. I'm going to go ahead and insert that leaf. Now, obviously it's way too big, so I'm going to resize it. I am going to hold the shift key down and click and drag just so that I don't lose this aspect ratio, so it doesn't look what I call wonky and distorted. So I'm going to keep shrinking it down till I get it about the right size for my tree. So now I've got one leaf on the tree. Now here's what we need to do next. We need to duplicate this leaf several times. And there is a really easy way to do that. Instead of copying and pasting, and instead of going back to insert and finding that leaf again, we're going to use Control or Command D on the keyboard. And if we do this, we can get as many leaves as we like. Okay, now I am going to arrange the leaves on my tree. You can just click and drag, grab each leaf, and, try to make it look like a tree that's slowly losing its leaves. You can also even rotate leaves a little bit if you want to use this little blue circle that kind of comes out to the edge here, so it doesn't look so stencily, I guess. And just move your leaves to create the fullest tree that you want to start with. And through the magic of television and podcasting, we now have leaves on our tree. So we've got our beginning image. This is, essentially that first image that's at the bottom of your flip book. And what we're going to do is we're going to select that slide, and we're going to use that duplicate shortcut again. Control or Command D on the slide will duplicate the entire slide. Okay. And that's when we're going to slowly start moving the leaves. So this one's going to just gradually fall. Maybe I've got another one kind of dripping down. And we can just slowly move the leaves. Again, select the slide, Control or Command D, and then move the leaves some more. And you can, make this as organic as you want. If you want it to look like the wind is blowing in a certain direction, obviously you can do that. And just slowly have the leaves coming down. Now again, I'm going to select the slide, duplicate, and just keep moving the leaves further and further down. And you can have this, take as many slides as you like. Obviously, the more you do and the more realistic you want it to look, the longer this will take. Duplicate. They're now beginning to land on the ground. Everything's kind of falling. And I'm going to duplicate one more time. And now I'm just going to have the rest of the leaves kind of come almost down to the ground. Just clicking and dragging each individual object. And then one last duplication of the slide. And we're just going to have our little leaf pile down here at the bottom. All right, now we have created our set of slides that we are going to bring to life. And this is how easy it is. You're going to use something that's called Publish to the Web. And we are going to go to File, Publish to the Web. Now, here is another quick tip, is in another account that is actually getting updates faster than this account, they have moved this. So if you don't see Publish to the Web under File, you're going to look under Share. So here, just to show you, if you don't see it under File, you will see it under Share. This is where it is moving to. So the steps remain the same. We're going to go to File, and then we're going to select Publish to the Web. And from here, we're going to leave it as a link. We're going to change this drop down to every second. So it's going to auto advance the slides every second, which is how it's going to bring it to life. And then you want to check these 2 boxes so that it automatically starts and that it loops, it restarts. And then I'm going to click publish. It's going to say, hey, are you sure? I'm going to click OK. And now I get this special link. And Controller Command C on the keyboard to copy that link, because this is a completely different link than the editing link that we have up here. So I'm going to open a new tab, and I'm going to paste that, Control V, and you're going to see the leaves falling from the tree. That's how simple it is. And it will just animate over and over again. Y'all, this is something that can be used in so many different types of projects. Again, I took a very simplistic viewpoint here just to demonstrate it, but to actually help you see how it can take on that flip book sensation. Kids can bring this to life. And this is actually so incredibly simple when you really break down the steps. So don't be intimidated by stop motion animation. If you like this tip, let me know. Give me a thumbs up, ring the bell, and subscribe so that you get notified when new videos come out each week. And if you haven't, hop on over to shakeuplearning.com and check out all of our free resources there. Bye, y'all.